So I get a lot of fragrance questions in my comments and I always try to answer as many of them as possible. And I thought it was time to do another round of your fragrance questions answer where I take some of your questions and answer them in a video. Let's do this. So the first question is from Sudesh. In terms of longevity and projection, which one would you recommend? 1 million Elixir, Why So Why Le Parfum or Le Male Parfum? First off, thanks for the question. So a lot of people seem to be getting great performance out of Le Male Parfum. But in my experience, yes, the projection with Le Male Parfum is good initially at least, but then it goes more into something that is a bit more intimate, which is why I recommend spraying more with Le Male Parfum in my spraying guide. Longevity is pretty good though, and pretty much the same thing with Why So Why Le Parfum. I know some get beast mode performance out of it, but on my skin the projection is pretty good, but only for a shorter period of time. Longevity is pretty good though. And same thing here, longevity is better than projection. The winner out of these when it comes to performance, so this is just based on performance, at least on my skin, is 1 million Elixir, which lasts longer and projects better. With that said, I still recommend spraying a bit more with 1 million Elixir, while the performance is definitely solid. If you're going out and want a more noticeable scent cloud for longer, then I do recommend spraying a bit more. So next up, Saul Goodman asks, can Code Parfum and Born in Roma Intense be used for summer? So I know some think you can't use Code Parfum summertime, but to me, yes, I mean, it's a powdery scent, but the powderiness, at least to me, is more often, it does have a sort of an airiness to it. And its powderiness is also balanced up by a dose of freshness. I use Code Parfum throughout the year, and I definitely think it can be used for summer. Same thing with Born in Roma Intense. I know some think you can't use Born in Roma Intense on warmer days, but I disagree. This is not a super deep, super heavy, super sweet or anything like that kind of scent. And it actually develops nicely with a bit of warmth. So this can definitely be used summertime. But like always, try for yourself, see how it develops on your skin and if you like it or not. Next up, a question from James. Is Why So Why Elixir good for all year round? I'm gonna link to my review of Why Elixir above, so feel free to check it out. To me, it was a bit underwhelming, but regardless of that, yes, you can definitely use Why Elixir throughout the year. It's really not a heavy kind of scent. Its oud is pushed to the back and its woodiness is of the light kind. So next up we have a question from Velu. I'm debating on which frag I want to buy, Le Beau Le Parfum or Prada L'Homme. So I've done a review of Le Beau Le Parfum and I suggest checking it out. I also recommend checking out my Le Beau versus Le Beau Le Parfum comparison for more on this one. Le Beau Le Parfum and Prada L'Homme are so different. Sweet coconut and vanilla with a bit of woodiness versus Prada's wicked spicy and woody powderiness. Maybe think of what kind of fragrance you would want and need the most. They are so different. Do you want a sweet coconut focused scent or a powdery fragrance? For something a bit more versatile and a scent I think is great as an everyday kind of fragrance, I would definitely go with Prada L'Homme. For one of the best coconut scents though, the Le Beau line stands out for sure, and Le Beau Le Parfum is a good one. So next up we have a question from Bozidar. Do you think that getting Sauvage is redundant if I have Versace Dylan Blue? Also, what do you think of Dior Fahrenheit? This is the kind of question I get quite often, and it's one that is not always the easiest to answer because it really depends. It's super subjective and it really depends on how you perceive fragrances. As an example, to someone, owning all the Dior Sauvages might not be something that is redundant because that person absolutely loves the DNA and enjoys the differences between them. To someone else, owning just one of them is enough because that person feels that they are all sort of the same. As an example, I recently had someone saying all the Le Beaux are the same, and that's fine. That's how that person perceives the Le Beaux. But to me, yeah, they sort of revolve around the same core sort of DNA, but they are different. With that said, this is sort of, in a way, a tough one because while they are definitely not the same, there are some similarities, but they are not the same. Sauvage is more in your face with a more intense dose of freshness, whereas Dylan Blue has a much smoother feel to it and that soft smokiness about it. Even though I don't think they are the same, if you already have Dylan Blue, then maybe go for something else. I would love to hear from the rest of you if you have tried these and if you think it's redundant to own both. So Dior Fahrenheit, this is a fragrance that often gets quite a bit of hate in my comments. but I think this is a really cool scent. This really stands out and it's quite different compared to most fragrances out there right now. I like it. However, this is very much a love or hate kind of scent. So definitely do not blind buy, try first. I do want to mention the Le Parfum though, great scent. So the next question is from Daniel. Is Greenley worth it? What's the longevity? I'm gonna link to my review of Parfums de Marly Greenley above, so feel free to check it out. I think Greenley is probably the best fresh apple scent ever made, and at least on me, the longevity is definitely on the good side. However, and this is sort of my biggest issue with Greenley, the projection is not the best. It goes from being noticeable to more of a skin scent a bit too quickly. Most people absolutely love the scent when they get a whiff of it, but even if I overspray this thing like crazy, people have a hard time picking up on it. So longevity is okay, but projection is definitely not the best. And if that's something that is important to you, then I suggest to stay away. Fantastic scent though. So next up we have a question from Hansa. Do you think Profondo lacks in longevity? So Profondo is definitely one of the best, most versatile aquatic fresh scents ever made, but the performance is not the best, and this is more of an intimate kind of fresh scent. But longevity often surprises me, and I've received compliments like hours on super hot days, hours after application, but almost always when someone's being quite close to me. So longevity, while not being insanely good, is still good. Projection though, it's not strong, and like I said, people do need to be a bit closer to you to pick up on it. So next up we have a question from Jadon. Is YSL Myself not too sweet for the summer? To me, Myself is primarily a mix of freshness, florals and soft woodiness, and I don't think Myself is too sweet in any way, and the scent itself is something I feel works throughout the year, including summer. So next up we have a question from Hornet. Hypothetically, could I wear Spring Garden in the winter or no? I assume you mean Paradise Garden because the comment was on a Le Beau video. So here's the thing, you can wear anything anytime you want. It really depends on how you use it, and at least according to me, how it develops in different temperatures. Paradise Garden is more of a fresh green and sweet scent, and to me at least, it's more suitable for spring and summer. But with that said, you can definitely wear Paradise Garden fall and winter as well. But depending on how cold it is, you might find that it doesn't sort of perform or cut through the air in the same way as in more warmer temps. So the answer is yes, you can use Paradise Garden anytime you want. I use freshes throughout the year, but you might find that it develops at least a bit different depending on what time of the year it is and how warm or cold it is. So next up we have a question from Kivit. Which one you find better, Scandal Le Parfum or Le Male Parfum? So I like Scandal Le Parfum a lot. I'm gonna link to my comparison between Scandal Le Parfum and the EDT above, so feel free to check it out. But out of the two, I would choose Le Male Parfum. They are not the same though. I would love to hear from the rest of you. If you had to choose between these two, which one would you choose? So next up we have a question from MBA Enthusiast. I have Afnan 9 PM, Bad Boy EDT, Spice Bomb Original, Azzaro the Most Wanted, and Versace Eros of the EDT. What would you think I should add? So questions like these are not the easiest to answer because it really depends on you, what you truly enjoy, and what you feel you need. But with that said, looking at this, maybe like a proper freshie for the warmest of days, something like Missoni Wave, or something that is quite sort of a balance, like an everyday kind of fragrance like Y Eau de Parfum or Born in Roma. It seems like those are the kind of fragrances that are currently not present in your collection. If you don't like fragrances like that and want something else, it seems like you enjoy spicy and sweet scents. And for that, there are so many good ones to choose from, but here are 3. So next up we have a question from Holy Concert King. How many sprays of Le Beau? It really depends on you and how you like your fragrances, but for me, when it comes to Le Beau, a lot. I absolutely love this thing, and while it does have a nice scent cloud in the beginning, that drops off quite quickly, which is the reason why I spray quite a bit with it. When I overspray with Le Beau, I get a more intense scent cloud and it lasts a bit longer. I know I'm gonna get comments on this, but I easily go over 10 sprays with Le Beau. And even so, I do need to top it up every now and then. But that's for me. Looking at my comments when it comes to Le Beau, Apparently some only need a single spray, and even sometimes for some a single spray is too much. So next up we have a question from Nikhil, deciding between Initio Side Effect and Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille. I know you can't compare the two, but what do you suggest? Yeah, while they both have tobacco and sweetness in them, they are definitely not the same. With that said, while I really like Tobacco Vanille, I would choose Side Effect over it. Do not blind buy any of these. Make sure you try them first so that you are sure that you enjoy them. So next up we have a question from Owe in regards to the Dior Sauvages. Which one is for everyday? I think the original Sauvage, the EDP and the Parfum all work for everyday use. Dior Sauvage Elixir is one of my fragrances for life and I use it throughout the year, but to me it's a much more intense, deeper, richer and fuller kind of scent. So it's not a fragrance I would reach for every day. I would much rather go for the EDP or the others for that. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Thank you, I really do appreciate it. Make sure you hit that subscribe. Make sure you check out the videos over there and I'll see you in the next one.